Afternoon for 4 News Now. I'm Rob King. Today I am joined by actor, stand-up comic. He's an award-winning professional, Mr. Jeremy Piven, who's going to be in Spokane Sunday, April 27th at the Bing Crosby Theater as part of his national tour doing stand-up comedy. Jeremy, thanks for hopping on. How are you?
I'm great, man. Why have we all been pronouncing it wrong? We've all been saying Spokane, well, and no one's ever corrected us.
Sometimes you just got to let people roll with things. We have meetings where people mispronounce the cities that we broadcast to. Happens all the time. And is it worth calling people out for it?
You have to call us out, man. That's like having something on my face and you've never told me, ever.
Okay, that's fair. Then Spokane. And while we're on it, Gonzaga, not Gonzaga. That's our local university. So,
man, this is a day I'll never forget. Thank you, man.
Yeah, so if you're doing some ad-libbing on stage, those are some good points to know.
I'm going to open with that. I'm going to open with that at the Bing Crosby Theater, which, by the way, is a beautiful theater. Have you been?
Yes, I have. It is gorgeous. It's one of the premier theaters in town. Very good. And Bing Crosby, a local Spokaneite.
Who knew? Good God Almighty. Well, listen,
indeed.
I can't wait to get to town and jump on that beautiful stage because not everyone knows that I do stand up.
I know it's been, but now you've probably been at it for more than a decade, around that.
It's funny. I feel like I've been doing it my entire life. I started in sketch comedy in the '90s with Chris Farley, improvising on stage, and been doing my tour for over 10 years. And people say when they see me, we didn't know you were this funny. And yet I'm 80 movies into a career. So for me, that is the ultimate compliment because, to play Ari Gold and to play all these incredible characters that I found so funny to just on the page. And then, to write it yourself and to jump up there and to make people laugh it's an insane gift, man. And that I don't take lightly. And I just can't wait. Whether you hate me or love me, come on out. And if you've got, I love a good heckle. I'm not afraid of it.
I feel like you could exchange some barbs. You
know
got that quick wit.
It happens, and they just. But it's interesting with me. They just start screaming, "Lloyd!" Let's hug it out, bitch. Or just lines from PCU or Serendipity, just all over the map, and so it kind of sounds like you're at a press conference. So it gets a bit confusing, but I love it.
I'm surprised because that for me, I feel like I would not have fun people just screaming lines that I used to say at me.
Well, that's the great thing about life. It's like we're human, and so your first reaction when that happens is confusion, frustration, anger, and then you realize, well, that's not useful, and then you have fun with it and you play with it, and then that leads to some comedy that we all get to laugh about, and it's a metaphor for life because every day we deal with that stuff, and so we have to learn how to not be triggered by it, because I think everyone there are a lot of people out there that are living their lives being triggered. And you just got to let it go. This is the type of TED Talk behavior you can expect from me at the No. The show's going to be much funnier.
I'm having a good time.
Yeah, me too. But I got to let them know that I got a full 1 hour tight, set that I can deviate from at any moment. And what I need to do is put my special out so that people have a reference for me as a stand-up. But until then, they got to take the leap of faith, and I love it. It means a lot to me.
Do you find that the grind of comedy touring is better or worse, or what do you find the differences between that and the grind of being like sequestered in Burbank for 3 months for a shoot?
The funny thing, I'm just coming off of the toughest run I've ever had, and what's interesting is I just maybe someday I'll do a documentary about stand-up because I came to it a little bit later in life than most. Most start, very, very early. I think Chappelle started at 14. I mean, I started on stage at 8 years old. so I've been acting my whole life. It When you're exhausted and you've got nothing left, you have these incredible sets where you don't have enough energy to get in your own way, and you're just kind of like in the zone, and it's fascinating. So there is there is no wrong way to do it with stand up. Um, with acting, I feel it's very similar because when you're exhausted, you're very emotionally available. And if the character, needs to be emotional, it's at your fingertips. So, you really have no excuses at all as a performer. You don't. And that's what I love about it. You know, um, you always have to be the best version of wherever you're at. And I'm very hard on myself as a performer. So, and I know that there are no excuses, man. Um, you have the honor of performing in front of people. I grew up in the theater on the stage where I saw my father backstage with a rotary phone as a kid, calling people out of the phone book to get them to come to our shows. And that's the way they used to do it. And now I get to talk to you and get the word out. So I have a perspective on how lucky I am, how grateful. There are a lot of comics who are like, bro, I have to do press. It's like, no, it's an honor. It's a
Well,
gift.
I think that kind of lends itself to your longevity in the industry, having that perspective. I think that's
I
got to
hope
be
I
helpful.
I hope so, man. But also, I'm not a dummy, and I'll just be real with you, man. It's like I see people's faces when they see me, and if you really want to see how people feel about you, surprise them. Because if they get surprised by you, they didn't know you were there. They look at you, and their first look to you is how they really feel about you. Like
Oh, that's interesting.
I surprised this one guy who doesn't like me, and the first thing he saw me, and he had this look in his eyes, and then he's like, "What's up?" You know what I mean? It's like, "Nah, gotcha, motherfucker."
Then has
Sorry.
to do the LA thing of, oh, hey, Jeremy, great to see you.
Yeah, and this guy doesn't like me for the wrong reasons. Because anyway, it doesn't matter why anyone doesn't like you. But my point to you is, when strangers, when they see me, a lot of times their eyes light up and they start laughing, and they tell me, "My God, man, I was stationed over, and you got me through it," or whatever. I've made them laugh. And you said that it's a tribute to your longevity. I think, and I'm so honored that people have seen me in different roles, whether it's an old school that people have all seen, or PCU, or Ari Gold, or whatever, and or with women, with Serendipity, with these romantic comedies that have stood the test of time. Um, I'm just honored, and from all of those references, they may come into Bing Crosby Theater, notice the transition, it was seamless, and they can go, wow, okay, I've loved him in these things. I don't know him as a stand up, but let's go take a chance. And then I make them laugh for an hour and a half. And then selfishly, through my stand up, they get a sense of who I am as opposed to these fictional characters. And the whole thing's a gift.
So you do you enjoy breaking down that boundary that people come in with not knowing stand up?
Yeah, and also I love introducing people to stand up who don't necessarily go and see it live. And because we now I think it's the greatest form to do, because we're living in times where everyone's so frustrated by what's going on, and we get up on stage and give our take on it. And whether you agree with it or not, we had a rule in my house: you can say whatever you want as long as it's funny. And you may not agree with my point of view. And by the way, I'm just giving you my perspective that I think is funny. Um, and if you laugh, that's a shared truth. And then you got to look at that. Well, why? That's a truth. And you hadn't looked at it that way before. So it's a way that we can all come together and see someone else's take, um, and then unpack it. Because right now we're living in times where people are drawing a line in the sand. They're going, no, you're on the other team, so I'm not listening to anything you say, even if it's logical.
Sure.
And that's wrong.
Well, Jeremy, I think that's a great way to start to wrap up. I think you've left people a lot to think with and mull over, but also look forward to.
This, by the way, this is a Jewish goodbye, and it's different. An Irish goodbye is when you leave without saying goodbye. A
Yes.
Jewish goodbye is when you say goodbye and you never leave. So this will never be over.
That's fine. I can keep going if you can, but I know you're a very busy man. You've been very generous with your time, so I don't want to take advantage of that.
No, you're not taking advantage of me. I had to leave my own home and to take this call. I'm on the street screaming into a phone.
That's modern press, baby.
I love it. Do you imagine how many times I've just screamed Lloyd into a phone?
Oh, there's probably a 10-minute YouTube reel of just those clips.
That's actually not a bad idea. Just 10 minutes of me screaming Lloyd.
Just over and over.
That's another thing. It's like, that character I'm playing it like it's a Greek tragedy. And it's funny. You know what I mean? He's desperately trying to win Ari Gold. And he's screaming. I'm not playing it for laughs. I'm playing it a little more serious in the serious stuff. I'm screaming bloody murder, that I'm gonna kill Lloyd because he's dropped the call. I'm not trying to be.
I think that's interesting. I think there is a Sisyphus element to Ari Gold of him trying to push this cohort of clowns around him up a hill every day.
Absolutely. But that's what also makes it, I think, fun to watch because, he's been in the game for a while. He's the adult in the room, and everyone else, as you said, they're all out of work rodeo clowns, and so it's brutal.
Awesome. Well, you can see Jeremy talk about his career in stand-up comedy Sunday, April 27th at the Bing Crosby Theater in Spokane. Tickets are on sale now. You can find the link on kxly.com. Jeremy, anything before I let you go?
I think if they mention you, KXLY, right?
Yes.
Little Rob King. Well, let's give him a free meet and greet afterwards so we can all hang out.
That sounds good. I'll be sure to get that word out as well. If you mention KXLY, you can meet Jeremy.
I'm Jewish, so I want to save them some money.
That's polite of you. Especially now. Eggs, you gotta do what you can.
Especially now that the Jews are so unpopular. Let's unpack all of it on stage. Shan't we?
All right.
Let's get Kanye out. Let's get them all out. You better cut me off. Rob,
thank you so much. Okay, I'll cut you off. Jeremy, thank you. Appreciate it. We'll see you at the end of the month. You can watch Jeremy Piven on stage April 27th at the Bing Crosby Theater. Like I said, tickets on sale now. For now, live in studio, I'm Rob King for 4 News Now.